Welcome to the Success Scenario. I'm your host, Dustin Abrego. On the Success Scenario, we meet and hear from current LCC students, people just like you, who face adversity, why they chose LCC, and how they turn their situation into a successful one. I'm here with...
Hello, my name is Jeremy Breton.
And it is Jeremy's birthday today, so round of applause for everyone, right?
41 today.
Oh, dude, congrats.
Thank
That's
you.
a great age. Tell us a little about yourself. You're currently a student here at LCC, right?
Yep, in my third semester here.
Okay.
I started in the spring. I moved to Lansing about 7 years ago.
Okay.
I had to get away from Jackson. It was no good for me there.
Mm-hmm.
So I relocated here with $2 in my pocket, and I was homeless. And I tried going to college when I first got here in the city. Just stable roof wasn't over my head, so it was hard to get committed into studies. So it just never worked out until now, where opportunities have come into play where I'm able to do things now, and it's a great feeling.
That's huge. I mean, I feel like I even struggled with like if having internet or a laptop or things, but you're talking about, hey, like, I don't know where I'm going to sleep tonight and things. That's really huge trying to navigate that. But then you also wanted to go to college at the same time. Like, what was your motivation to like get into classes and start taking things, even if you like immediately moved here with, like you said, literally $2, not sure where you're going to sleep? Like
A lifetime of regrets and making the wrong decision.
Okay.
I figured that might as well make a right one.
Okay.
So it's just been slow and steady here in Lansing. Hasn't been easy because I've been homeless several times here.
Sure.
Even got evicted during COVID.
Oh my gosh.
That was a tough one. But I checked in to get some help mentally because I was really mentally unstable. Now I'm on the right medications and stuff that I'm able to focus.
Sure.
And not be all scatterbrained.
Sure. So it's not your first time at college. Is LCC like your first school then that you've tried starting at then, or?
No, I went to Jackson Community College at first. I took a year off from high school.
Mm-hmm.
I had 2 free years coming straight out of high school because my GPA was so high.
Nice.
But I also had a job where I was making really good money. So I didn't last but maybe a half a semester, dropped out. And then the company folded 5 years later. And then I got another job working at Spartan Chassis in Charlotte. I was building military vehicles.
Oh, wow.
And they lost out on the military contracts. So I lost my job again. But at that time, they had the No Worker Left Behind Act. So I went back to college. And that time, it was called Jackson College. They changed the name. And I made it a whole semester. I just didn't keep pursuing it.
Okay.
I just wasn't mentally ready for it, I guess.
Sure. So what do you think's changed for you? Because you said now that you're like in this place and you have set yourself up for success in different ways, right? Like having that system, being aware of like resources around you and things. What was like the tipping point for you then that you were like, you know what, now? Like, I know you said you had like lifetime of stuff behind you. What was that tipping point when you like got here and you're like, no, like I'm doing this for me?
That's a good question. It was actually when I started to become more spiritually sound.
Sure.
And more mentally sound.
Yeah.
And just the focus is different. I'm done self-sabotaging myself. So I'm like, I want to keep moving forward. And if I stumble along the way, just get up and keep moving forward. So the tipping point was just being homeless all the time. And it's so hard to get things going when you're, like you said, worrying what you're going to eat, where you're going to sleep. And it was that last time I was homeless, I was like, no, I got to get help. And it's been that ever since. I've been getting help. So, and doors keep opening. New people keep coming to my life, such yourself, because, well, I've never had an opportunity like this. And this is perfect to step outside my comfort zone that I'm normally, shrouded with my brick wall.
Yeah.
But it's good to let that down every now and then and just open up.
So I want to ask you, stepping outside your comfort zone, where is that coming from? Because I clearly don't understand, like in the perspective of like where you've come from and stuff, and your experience is unique to yourself, right? How does opening yourself outside your comfort zone help you? Because I feel like if people have faced like challenges and went through the things that you've been through, that they would want to seek comfort, right? Because they hadn't had that in a really long time. What is it about like opening yourself up to new things? Like what's that drive? Does that kind of make sense what I'm getting at?
Okay. The drive is, cause I've always been like a sole person. Like,
sure,
I didn't have a lot of friends.
Sure.
I always kept to myself, but that gets lonely.
Sure.
You don't have nobody to open up to. So the more I'm able to be open with people, the more they're open with me. And it just becomes a mutual friendship. So I'm in the right place. This is college here at LCC has been the only place I've ever felt like I actually fit in. And that's big for me because out of all my jobs, never felt like I fit in. I was always bullied, but here I'm giving opportunities. Like nobody makes fun of me, and if I do make a mistake, it's like, okay, or change this. So I'm able to take constructive criticism a lot better instead of being defensive all the time. And that just makes you an angry person when you're defensive all the time. I have a family member who's defensive all the time. So
gotcha. Okay. I did not set you up to say that, by the way, so everyone is aware, but I'm grinning like an idiot over here, making sure that like, that fulfills me and makes me feel good that like you feel like you belong here. And that's an important aspect of like what we do because education's for everyone. Right. But you said also a job. So you do work here?
I work here as well.
Okay. What do you do here?
I work in the Center for Academic and Career Pathways. I set up appointments for the academic advisors and answer questions when I can. I get to answer all the questions because there's a whole plethora of them, but I get to learn the system by teaching it to them. So it's a good job. It's the first office job I've ever had in my life, and I love not having to beat my body up where I can just use my brain.
What do you think about working and being a student? Because I feel like maybe initially when you viewed it, you were like, well, I need money. I'm here already. Let me do this. Do you think it's helpful to you, like working at the college and like being a student at the same time? Is it kind of just more challenging with time? Like,
it's definitely more challenging with time, but I love their stance on student first. So if I ever need time off, they're like, yeah, here, go do your homework. And I've always went to college, but I never worked at the same time.
Sure.
So I thought, let's try it. I hear so many people doing it, so and I know I can do it.
So you feel supported being a student then while working as a student as well then?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Great staff I work with. I mean, everybody's great in that office.
You do a great job on the phone, Jeremy. For people that aren't aware, you do sit, I don't know, like 30 yards from me, like far enough that like I can maybe hear you answering the phone if it's quiet, but like, so we do cross paths in that way, which is great that we had this opportunity to connect and chat and whatnot.
Absolutely.
So you're at college. What are you studying? Where are you going? I feel like that's the question everyone always hits you with. Like, okay, so what are you going to do? Right.
I'm actually studying the vet tech for the veterinarian technology.
Okay.
But that could be changing.
Okay. Yeah, okay. All
I'm
right.
in a psych class that I'm really starting to dig.
Okay.
So that's a whole nother thing of itself. We'll just see how things go, get my prereqs done, but I would love to transfer over to MSU because they got one of the best vet clinics in the world. So that is the plan for right now, but it's ever evolving.
Cool. What is it about vet tech program here, or like working with animals? Like what do you want to do? What is it about like working with animals that you like?
I just get a sense of just freedom. I'm free, and it just brings such joy to me to just be with animals. Like I understand animals more than I can understand humans sometimes, but
I feel like we all struggle with that. That's right. Okay. Yeah.
But I make it to MSU campus quite often. I feed the geese, and I take peanuts there and I feed them. So
Okay.
I was just there over the
I didn't know that geese ate peanuts. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Take it right out of your hand.
I'm sure they would take many things out of my hand. I feel like they're just usually like aggressive, so I just stay away. But
Right.
I didn't know that they like peanuts. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the psych class. What do you?
I just like how the mind works.
Okay.
And how people, how they compute information,
Mm-hmm.
and how you might do it differently than somebody else, or they view the world differently than you. And it's just it's a give and take
Mm-hmm.
that I love.
Okay.
I love how the mind works.
Do you think, what is it about the mind working? Is it for you to be able to understand others? Is it you understanding maybe yourself? Because I feel like sometimes I read stuff and I go, I'm not relating science and like fake things, but it almost sometimes reads like a horoscope where like you read something that you've never come across before and you're like, oh crap, I do that. Like that's me. Like, which is it for you? Other people, yourself? Like,
It's actually just a different perspective.
okay.
It might get me to think in a different way, which
Mm-hmm.
sometimes my brain gets firing too fast sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But I love having that connection with somebody. Like, hey, you ever thinking about it this way? You know, so it's
Mm-hmm.
them challenging you,
Mm-hmm.
and then you challenging them in return. So I like that.
You find it rewarding?
Oh,
It gives you, like,
definitely.
a sense of joy.
I get a sense of it's definitely, especially if you can have somebody smile or open up their eyes, and that's a great feeling. And if you might not like it right at first, but
Right.
I do like it, like overall
Mm-hmm.
in the long run.
When you say like, oh, I was looking at that and like, I don't know, maybe I might change. Like, do you have a potential of what you'd be interested in doing with that? Because, that could be like counseling. That could be like there's so many things, right? That could be like, I have no idea. Did you have a thought with it?
Psychologist, probably.
Okay.
I don't know how many times I had people tell me I need to be like a motivational speaker or something down that line. I've had countless of people tell me that.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to do that or not. But
Yeah, sure. Okay.
It's all a waiting game.
Okay. Why do people tell you that?
I think it's just because I can talk well with people. Like
Sure.
I just had at church yesterday, I just had a kid come up to me. He says, well, you speak well in front of people. So I feel like I'm dying inside sometimes when I'm like, because if I don't do my grounding techniques,
Sure.
my
Okay.
anxiety will get the best of me.
Mm.
So curling my toes in my shoes is a big grounding technique for me.
Mhm.
I'm actually doing it right now. So
Okay. Do you ever find that surprising? Because if you're having to, ground yourself and like go through these techniques that totally work for you and work for many people, right? Or backed by science. Do you think it's ever curious or interesting when people are like, you speak really good in front of people, and you're like, you have no idea like how fast my heart and like my mind's running a mile a minute. Like, do you find that surprising?
yeah, when they can see me not dying inside, yeah, it's awesome.
Mhm.
Because then it makes me like, you know what? Then I can like, when I catch myself not grounding myself or
Mm.
Feelings get too high,
Mm-hmm.
I usually pause and have to regather myself, and it's slow breathing.
Mm. Good techniques overall, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Over a lifetime learned them. So.
And I mean, I feel like that lifetime experience really does help. The amount of times that like, cause I've done public speaking or for this job or other things like that. And people will say like, oh, like you're really good at that or whatever. And I go, that feeling of it being discomfort, right? And doing it, even if it's like in just your communication 101 class, right? That feeling never goes away. I feel like you just get better at like, yep, this is what this is, right? Like, it's like tying your shoes or like washing dishes. Like the first time you're like, how do I do this? And then like, oh, I figured it out. And you just keep getting better at it. I don't think it's necessarily, I mean, sometimes I feel like I get enjoyment out of it, but do you get something out of it when you do speak in front of people, or is it?
It's not usually when it's happening.
Sure.
It's usually afterwards that then it all hits me, like, because then I pick apart what I said, like down to, I got OCD when it comes to writing stuff or anything like that. It's gotta sound perfect when I read it out loud. Because if it don't, then it's just crazy in my head feeling.
Gotcha. So it doesn't line up with maybe like what you're feeling versus what you're saying. Okay.
Right.
Gotcha. So besides psych, what other classes are you like feeling with, or like, did you maybe realize that like, oh, I hate that. And then now that you're in it, you're like, this isn't the worst. Like maybe it was a challenge, because you've definitely viewed some things of that I think other people would put in their way and be like, I can't do that. Or I've come from this, so I can't do that. But it seems that you've reframed stuff of like how to view obstacles as a challenge, because people like challenges. We don't hate like work and other things like that.
Right. But. So it was on a communications class over the summer. That was probably the most challenging class I've had so far. Just because it was during the summer, you got shortened weeks. But on top of that, it was learning to deal with communication. I didn't know there was that many forms of communication.
And you can name them all right now if I ask it.
Probably not. It just went by too fast. No, very little material stuck. And so I was a little weary of that class, but I pulled a 3.5 in it. So
heck yeah, man. Nice.
Yeah.
So after you're in it though, you're like, oh, I can totally do this. Even though summer classes do move a little faster for people, right? Was there like a point in it where you're like, oh, I got this? Or was it just you gaining traction, doing 1 foot at a time thing?
It was definitely taking the material one step at a time. That was definitely not easy to be able to write analytically. That is a whole art in itself. I didn't really quite write analytically in that class, but
sure,
it was a learning stone. So hopefully my next writing class, I'll be able to do a little bit better.
Okay, cool. How do you think you prioritized yourself as a student? So you had all these different points where you're like, I'm going to choose me, right? I'm going to choose the long road that's going to be more rewarding than something short. How did you go about trying to prioritize you being a student and like putting that first? Because you could have chose, well, I'll just find a job and just go back to work and do other things. But you're like, in the long term, I want to do this career, but I need to do the education first. So like viewing that long-term goal, how did you prioritize yourself with that?
So I'm bouncing around to different jobs. I know I get into a job and I learn it. I lose focus in it. I lose interest in it so fast. So I thought, well, career, that's lifelong. You can take that with you in any state, anywhere you want to go. So that was the prioritizing. Plus all my friends were like bouncing around to different jobs, and it's just they didn't look happy. So I'm like, I got to try something different. So here I am at college.
Has that been hard for you, having people that like are not here? So friends or loved ones or other people that you're connected with that don't go here, for them to maybe like grasp and understand like what you're doing maybe?
So it's definitely hard because I don't get to see them because I'm focused.
Yeah, of course.
And my social life, I don't have one. It's non-existent right now.
Okay.
But I have goals. So it'll come later on in life, just not right now.
Okay.
But I do keep in touch with them.
Okay. So you are keeping in touch and stuff, but it is because you are working here. And then like, how many credits are you in right now?
I'm only taking 8 right now.
Okay.
Just because I knew the math class was going to be so extensive. Well, I didn't know it until got into it now, but it is so much work involved in that, and it eats up a lot of my time.
And you're going to tutoring or just spending a lot of time working on that and stuff, though?
Yeah, even when I go to tutoring, it still takes me a while to figure it out.
Sure, of course.
So I usually just try to figure it out on my own, and each section probably takes me 2.5 hours online to finish each section. Sure. So it takes me all week to get the homework done.
Okay.
But I want to be able to grasp it, not just rush through it or have somebody tell me the answer.
Okay.
That's not what I want.
Well, and I think having that understanding for you to move forward will be like, that's how you're viewing it, right? Is you're learning a skill or a trade and thing, and not, I'm just doing a check mark. And maybe like the communications class, that was more of a check mark moving forward, which is okay, right?
Right.
And like my undergrad was in like communication and broadcasting. So I'm not like, you know, to each their own of what things totally mean. Could I name all those communication styles? Absolutely not. I couldn't remember any of them right now. So what is something you're proud of as a student?
Carrying a 3.5 after not being in college for 15 years. That is huge.
Yeah.
Like I was really worried about, because it was during COVID where, you know, a lot of it was online and online real time. I'm like, I don't even know what this even consists of.
Right.
So my physiology class was all online, and that was difficult having that kind of material just being online. Mm-hmm. So if I ever had another science class, I would love to do it in person.
Okay. So what would you tell first semester self you, knowing what you know now? Like
talk
when
to your success coach and get better time management.
Okay.
That is something that I struggle with still.
Okay.
And I don't reach out to my success coach as much as I should, but
I feel like you indirectly touch base with all of us individually when we're in our and we're in the office and whatnot. Do you feel, and so I sit on the one side of the table, right, being a success coach and you being a student. So I see what I think I'm picking up a pattern of things working with students. More often than not, I don't think the work is not too hard or for people to understand it. It might take them an amount of time, right? Working on math and stuff. I'd probably be the same way. I'd have to spend a lot of time to really understand the concepts.
Right.
Because those things just don't click for me like it does for other people. Do you think it is more so time management or actually how hard classes are that maybe would prevent you or others from having a 3.5 or like other things? Do you think the time management is that heavy of a weight?
I believe it's definitely helpful because instead of, waiting all week to jam-pack your whole homework and getting it done in one night, do it little increments throughout the week. And it seems to be going better for me now that I'm doing it that way. So I'm able to get and have one day off just for myself. And I usually take Saturdays off for myself and then get right back on it again Sunday. Plus, I'm also a brain where if I don't see it often, I lose it.
Gotcha. And that muscle memory for sure.
Right.
What would you tell others thinking about starting at college or coming back after some time like you did? What would you tell them if they're like, I'm not sure. I don't know if I have the time, right? Because people have families, a bunch of other stuff going on, working full time or other things. What would you tell them if they were like thinking about it and being like, I'm not sure if this is for me? What would you maybe end up telling them?
That's a good question. So for me, I have to tell myself I am not my GPA. That is huge because I lose focus sometimes when I see my grades dipping a little bit. I start to lose focus, and then nasty thoughts creep up saying, well, maybe you can't do this. But then I really step outside myself. I'm like, yes, you can do this. You just might need a break right now. And learning to take breaks is another big one. And if you're first coming into college, don't jump into it like I did and take, especially after being off for 15 years, I jumped in and took 3 classes right off the bat.
Okay.
That was stressful.
Okay.
But I like the structure of it. So that's why I'm coming back again for another semester.
Yeah. Do you think the structure of just like classes or just you managing your time has like helped you to be successful? And what is it about the structure that really like works for you,
So it's definitely had one good had my first writing teacher. She really helped me like focus and slowing down and really say what you mean, but in shorter sentences because I get wordy sometimes.
Sure. So
for me is it's definitely the time management part and the slowing down because my brain gets going and I don't know how to stop it sometimes. So, and then that also helps exercising my brain actually makes me tired to want to lay down at night and I get right to sleep. So, and because I'm not a big sleeper,
sure,
but being in college, working out my brain. I get sleep now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also see you hitting the gym and stuff like after work usually, right?
Right after work.
Okay.
That's something that helps me decompress. Mm-hmm. And then I usually sit out by the river for about an hour. Okay. And then it really makes me decompress.
So you use the gym here at LCC?
Here at LCC.
Okay, cool.
Got it for a lifetime. So.
Okay, there you go.
That's right.
What would be advice that you'd tell someone that is maybe struggling of, I'm not sure if this is for me. I'm not sure if college is for me. You know, maybe they're having some of those like bad or negative self-talk of like, I don't know if this is for me, because we're at the point in the semester where, we're past certain things, but maybe the first big test is coming in. First, big assignment. You're grinning, being like, "Yep, I have a few of those starting right now." Right? What would you maybe tell someone being like, "I don't know if I can do this, or I don't know if I should, or whatnot," because you're committed to this, and I can tell from the way that your GPA and what you want to do with your life and all those things. What would you try to tell someone to like help pull them along for the rest of the semester and
Reach out. There's so many resources here that will help you. Mm-hmm. And with the tutors over there in the Learning Commons, or here in the Learning Commons, is the best. Mm-hmm. I had great tutors in my spring semester. I didn't really reach out in the summer because I kind of just thought I could handle that one myself, but should have reached out for that one. And then now I get tutored on my math as well right now. Okay. And I just got an email on the psychology tutor. So I might have to reach out for that too. Just another perspective. Mm-hmm. Again, they might see something that I don't, and then it opens up my eyes, and knowledge is great.
So you feel this support network really helps like cement your success moving forward? Oh,
absolutely. And now I'm at an age where I don't mind saying I need help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did that change for you? Do you think it did at some point, or have you always been someone that's like, I want to hear what people have to say? Or
no, I've always been, like I said, to myself, and I can do it myself. I don't need no help kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Well, there's certain things you need help at, and or at least I do. Mm-hmm. So I reach out, especially if I feel like I'm drowning. No, help. Where do I turn?
Sure.
And I work in a department where they can point me in any direction. It's like, here, you can go get help here.
Yeah. So, the people are just sitting 10 feet from you.
Right.
That would help and stuff.
And most of the time they get my questions answered right there in the spot. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Anything you want to leave us with, how you're feeling, or
just enjoy your time here at LCC, because it's going to be over within a blink. I'm already in my third semester and it feels like I just started. So it's going to be over really, really fast. So I'm going to enjoy every moment here.
Cool. Well, we look forward to hearing about all the successes and things that you're going to accomplish and move forward. So thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Dustin.
Thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to the Success Scenario. You can listen to this episode and past episodes anytime online at lccconnect.org. The Success Scenario is a program dedicated to inspiring students towards a path of success. I'm Dustin Abrego, and if you're a current LCC student with a great story to share, or know someone with a story to share, connect with me on Twitter or at LinkedIn at Dustin Abrego, Abrego. Until next time, success starts with you.